Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our Gear Up for Registration webinar. I'm Dr. Monica Powell. I'm the Senior Associate Dean and Graduate Dean here at the Jindal School of Management at UT Dallas, and we are so excited on behalf of all of our brand new students who will be coming in this fall to join us for advancing their career in a master's or MBA program. You know, this is a really important webinar, and it will help you to have total control over your enrollment process, as opposed to having to depend upon somebody else to enroll you in your classes. You're going to be able to enroll yourself, which means you're going to be able to get out there and look at the class schedule. You're going to be able to decide, am I a morning person? Am I an evening person? And be able to really have your hands on the levers to manage your enrollment and to take care of that long before you get here, so that then you can spend time thinking about where you're going to live and who's going to be a roommate and what the weather's like in Texas, all of that kind of stuff. So let me welcome our team to our Gear Up for Registration webinar today. We have Corina Cantua. She is the director of our advising operation. And when we say advising, we are referring to the process of course registration and degree management. Advising in the Jindal School of Management is not career advising or specific detailed course advising. It is about getting you into classes, making sure that you're following your degree plan, making you eligible to graduate, and getting you graduated from the Jindal School of Management. We also have a colleague of mine, my right arm here in the dean's office, Norma Rodriguez. She is managing the back end of our live Teams webinar. She will also be handling the Q&A and getting questions to us, as well as answering questions. There's another colleague behind the scenes you can't see. That's Angela Howard, Assistant Director for Graduate Advising, and she and Norma will be answering questions in the chat for students that have those questions. So again, thank you for choosing the University of Texas at Dallas and the Jindal School in particular. We are so excited about you joining us this fall, and we really want you to help you take care of this particular item, get you registered for classes so you don't have to worry about that, and you can worry about all the other things in getting ready to come here to the Jindal School. So Corina, who is the consummate expert around everything registration, she knows all the ins, the outs, and how to guide a student, is going to walk you through the process. Now, please keep in mind that we want you to pay attention. You don't need to worry about taking copious notes, because this webinar is recorded for you, and we will be able to send you that recording link so you can go back to referring to it at any time should you have any confusion. So if you just pay attention and listen, and then later refer back to the recording, you'll be all ready to go when your advising appointment opens up in a week or so. So Corina, I'm going to have you take it away, run through all of these particulars. Corina does a great job of demonstrating this with slides so you know exactly what to look for. And again, if you have any questions at all, please put them in the Q&A, and we will be glad to answer those questions. If for some reason you put a question into the Q&A that doesn't get answered immediately, it's probably because it's going to get answered in the webinar. So just be a little bit patient, and we'll get this underway. So Corina, you want to take this away?
Certainly. Thank you, Dr. Powell, and thank you everyone for joining us today. So as Dr. Powell mentioned, there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to have to take care of as you gear up to register to get your first semester started. So we wanted to kind of give you some pointers of what you should be doing when it pertains to registration. So then if we go to the next slide, we're going to start right off with the academic calendar. Now, all the items that we're going to cover today, as soon as you get comfortable with them, it's going to be important because these are the same things that are going to come up each semester. So for example, the academic calendar has all of the deadlines for that particular semester that tells you when classes begin, when registration begins, the last day that you can register, late registration, when you can drop classes. It has a lot of information, and the setup is going to be the same any semester. So as soon as you take a look at it, you're going to be able to pull it up for each semester moving forward. So I recommend that go ahead and take a look at what it looks like for you for your first semester for fall 23, for example, and look at those important dates, printed, bookmark it, do whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you are aware of these deadlines. Currently, there's not a page 2 for the fall semester, but usually you will see a page 2. It will become available a little bit closer to the start of the semester. Page 2 is going to have tuition deadline information, refund information. If you happen to enroll in a class that you later drop, you want to be familiar with what the refund would be, and by when do you have to drop to be able to get that refund. So both pages are going to be important, page 1 and page 2. Right now, pull up page 2, and then later keep checking to look at pull up page 1, and then keep checking to pull up page 2 so that you can be familiar with both of those things, okay? So again, it is going to be something that you look at every semester, but since this is your first semester, first time that you review it, take a look, take your time, get familiar with these deadlines, highlight them, print them, put them on your phone, whatever it is that helps you get organized for your semester. This is a very good first step. All right, now let's go to what the next step should be. If we go to the next slide. So once you kind of get a sense of what the deadlines are going to be and when you need to start enrolling for classes, which for fall is going to be, everything's going to sort of gear up next week. The schedule has already been published. If you looked at the academic calendar, that's one of the dates that's on there. So we are already gearing up to get started. But then you're going to have to kind of decide, you know, what classes am I going to take? What does my degree look like? I got admitted, this is my program, but what does that mean? So a good starting point for every student is to go to the catalog, to go ahead and look at your degree information in the catalog, because that's where all the requirements are spelled out. You'll see what your core requirements are, what your electives are, if you have any tracks or concentrations that are recommended for your program. All of these details are spelled out within the catalog. So it is the next important step is to go ahead and just take a look at what your catalog tells you. The other thing that you're going to find in the catalog is a required GPA, right? So any grad student, you are required to have a 3.0 GPA for your core. So anything that's labeled core within your degree requirements, along with an overall GPA of 3.0, and it's going to be spelled out in the catalog, right? So it's important for you to be aware of that piece as well. And then I'm going to back up just a little bit to that first section on that slide about MAS 6102. That's another requirement that you're going to find in the catalog. For your degree requirements, you're going to see a section that says program prerequisites. So you also have to remember that in your first semester, you're going to be expected to register at MAS 6102, along with your other courses that you're going to be taking in your first semester. One of the things that we're going to do once the semester gets started for all our new students is we're going to create something that's called a degree plan or a degree audit. That is going to be on an Excel spreadsheet that looks and has the same courses as what you find in the catalog. That sheet is really just a working tool for you to be able to keep track of what courses you have already completed and what courses you still need to complete in your future semester. So it's more of a worksheet. We keep up with it in our office, and that's the way we kind of check in and make sure that you are taking the correct courses. We look at your GPA through that tool, but it really is just a resource tool, but because all of the main requirements are in the catalog. Now, as you start your first semester, one of the questions you may have is, but what classes do I take? I understand the catalog, I see all the classes I need to register for, but what do I start with? So one of the things that's going to happen, and as we're going to cover some of that towards the end of this webinar, is that your programs are going to send you invites to webinars. They're going to help answer those type of questions, is exactly what are the recommendations that are coming from the program as to what you should be doing in your first semester and what you should look into planning for future semesters. So you may feel a little anxious because that information is not there, but it is coming. I think some of you may have been invited to an event that happens today. If not today, it's going to be in the coming days where you will receive this type of information. So don't worry, it's going to be available to help you get started. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to proceed to the next slide, because what I'm going to show you is what does it look like when you log into the Student Center to be able to actually register. So you looked at the academic calendar, you looked at the catalog, you attended your program webinar, and you have an idea what classes you're going to take. Now you want to go into the system to register in classes. So one of the important things to know is that you're going to use the same system that you use for your application tracking. You're going to use that same thing to go in and look at your current student information. It's going to be Galaxy, so your NetID and password, same as what you use as an applicant, is going to still work when you log into Galaxy to look at what your current student center looks like. So if you do have any issues, or if you forgot your password or anything of that sort, you do have to contact OIT Help Desk, and they're very good about helping you troubleshoot to get access back into your student center, because you really do need this. This is going to be the place where you go to get registered in your courses. All right, now when we go into the system, and it's going to be that next slide that we go into, I'm going to show you some important tiles, right? Some of those boxes that are important now that you're a current student. When you were an applicant, when you log in, you went into what's called the Applicant Center. So some of you, when you log in, it may still default to that Applicant Center view. So make sure that you change it to the UTD Student Center view, because the Student Center now is what you will need to access now that you're a current student. So make sure you make that change, or else you're not going to be able to see those tiles that I'm going to be talking to you about as a current student. But the view is the same. How you click through them is the same. So by having used this type of system as an applicant, it hopefully makes it easier now that you're a current student, that you don't have to learn a new thing. You just kind of keep clicking those tiles and getting to the information that you need. All right, now I'm gonna, there's many tiles within the screen, so I do recommend that you just click around so you can find what type of information is included within each of the tiles. But right now I am going to cover two of the main tiles that become sort of important when it comes to registration each semester. And remember, everything that we're covering today is important each semester. So once you learn it and get familiar with it, it's just going to be easier in future semesters. Yeah, if we want to go to the next slide, that's perfectly fine, Norma. So we're going to look at the tasks tile. Now, what is found in the tasks tile? One of the first, I guess the most important things is that it does let you know if there's any holds on your account, which can prevent registration. So as a current student, there's going to be some items that you're responsible for doing, and the institution UTD will place a hold on your account if you have not done that thing that you have to do. And it's a variety of things. Even when you go to the library and you check out a book and you have not returned it, or there's a fee that you have to pay, there may be a hold that gets added to your account because there's an action that is required for you to take. And that hold may prevent registration, right? As a new student, one of the popular holds that you may see maybe for a TB test, maybe for official documents, and then maybe for what's called a new student advising hold. I will say that we are actively working through all of the students' accounts to release and push those holds back, to give you an opportunity to register in the coming weeks without having to fulfill those holds. So if you log in here, hopefully you don't see any holds at this time because we have pushed them back. But if you happen to log in here and you see a couple of holds, know that we're working on making sure that we are pushing them back to give you that opportunity to register. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't have to later fulfill those requirements, like missing documents. If you have not submitted your official transcripts, we will expect to receive those official transcripts by the start of the semester. But we're just giving you time to register and giving you time to submit those items by the start of the semester. So don't forget about them. Know that they're still due, but know that what we have done is just pushed out those holds so that you can still register in your coursework for these coming weeks, okay? All right, let's just go ahead and take a look at the next tile. Now, this Manage My Classes tile is going to be the most important when it comes to registration. So this is where you find all your resources on searching for classes, for adding, for dropping, for just looking at Schedule Planner. And what Schedule Planner is, it basically allows you to pull in some courses, and it gives you a variety of what your schedules could potentially look like. It kind of builds them for you, and then you can then figure out which one is the best one based on what you're going to be doing that semester. So it's very helpful. It takes a lot of the manual work away from having to you yourself put a schedule together. It will do that for you. But it's just a tool. It doesn't mean that you have to do it through Schedule Planner, but it is something that is there for you to use in order for you to register. Now, there's going to be a lot of steps, right? If this is the first time that you've ever registered at UTD, you are probably not familiar with the steps, so you may feel a little anxious about that part. but you don't have to worry. I'm not going to cover the step-by-step in this webinar, but we do have a website. We do have videos on the School of Management page, our advising page, that shows you exactly step-by-step. So if you need it written out, we have that available. If you, it's more helpful to view a little video, we put little videos together for you. So each of these steps are outlined for you on our page. So if you are just kind of confused about it, don't worry, take a look at our page, look at those videos so that you know exactly what to do step by step. One of the things I want to mention about this Manage My Classes is that section is called Enrollment Day and Time, which is View Enrollment Appointment, kind of in the middle of the bullet points on there. So for the fall semester, summer semester, I'll start by saying summer semester is open enrollment. That means anybody starting in the summer can start enrolling next Monday, everybody at the same time. But for your fall and your spring semesters, you are assigned what's called an enrollment appointment. First thing is, it is not an appointment. It is just a date and time when you can actually start enrolling in your classes. Not everyone starts together. There is some priority given to students who are approaching graduation because that's sort of their last chance to get those courses that they need for graduation. And as incoming students, you kind of will be probably registering around the second week of enrollment. So not next week, but the following if you're starting in the fall semester. But you do have to look at that system to see what date and time you can actually register. It does not mean, though, that you cannot start planning your classes beforehand. You don't have to wait until your enrollment day and time to start planning your classes. You should start doing that now. The schedule is available now. So start attending the webinar, start planning your classes, get everything ready so that when it gets to your day and time, all you have to do is go back in and just register in your classes. So don't waste the time of preparation that you could have in order to just be ready to enroll once your enrollment day and time comes. One of the things I will say is that please make sure that you have some backup options, right? As everyone is enrolling, things are changing, things are moving. You may have some classes and sections that those are your ideal schedule. This is exactly what I want to do. But you have to know that other students are also registering. So then some of those classes may close, may fill up before you get to them. So make sure that you do give yourself some backup options so that you can have another class that you can put in there to still register for your first semester. All right. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Those are the main things dealing with the actual system for registration. But then I also wanted to give you some, what it says, final thoughts. Any recommendations that we always give students. The first thing is you have to make sure that you start checking your UTD email and you actively use that as a way to communicate with any office in the university. The UTD email is what we designate as an official email from a student. We are able to take action when you email us from your UTD email. So if we're troubleshooting an issue and you send us an email through UTD email, we know that it is you, the student, who's reaching out to us. If you send us an email from Gmail, from an external email account, we have nowhere to verify that that is you requesting information from us. So we will not take any action on that email. So make sure that you start emailing us through UTD email and that you start checking UTD email because the other thing that's going to happen is we're going to start communicating with you via UTD email. Any notifications, any invites, any of that information that now as a current student you will receive is going to come to you through UTD email. So don't neglect it. Make it a daily routine to just go in there, see what's there, keep up with what's going at UTD by looking at your UTD email. The other thing is that you do have a UTD ID and a net ID. And I wanted to kind of just explain the difference between those. The UTD ID, it starts with a 20. It was on your admission letter. That's your official ID as a student. We don't need that when you email us in your UTD email. That is just something for you to keep as part of your student file. If you want to identify yourself when you email us, you include your net ID. And that's the one that has the letters followed by the numbers. That is something that you can put in your UTD email if you want to help us just find you in the system. And that's the same thing that you use when you log into your account. So it's fine if you want to kind of share your net ID with us, but do not share your UTD ID with us, nor with anybody else. Just keep that UTD ID safe. And then the last part is sort of what I mentioned before is A lot of this information may feel a little bit overwhelming, so start looking at it now, but then know that we also have a lot of informational videos on our site, and that when the programs do these webinars with you, they're going to give you more information. And as Dr. Powell mentioned earlier, is that you can come back and look at it again. So as we went through this, if you missed something, you can just watch this video again, go to that section you want to rewatch, and you'll be able to have this information. So we are going to do our best to provide you as much detail, as much information as possible, so that you can feel that you're ready to go, ready to register in the coming next 2 weeks. All right, so that's all I got on my end. I think we're going to cover the program information next.
You are on mute.
Hold
Dr.
on.
Powell.
Sorry, I got to turn my microphone on. Thank you, Corina, for that detailed information. That was a lot to take in 25 minutes of time. So it doesn't seem as complicated as it looks. It's just a matter of logging in, going to the appropriate tiles, making sure that you are enrolling on the date that you can. I just want to emphasize one thing that I get asked a lot. And that is that despite us telling our incoming students that an advising appointment is not an actual real advising appointment, it is just a moment in time when you are now eligible to register. So again, I just want to remind you, when you see that you have your advising appointment come up, that just means that you are able to orchestrate your enrollment into fall classes. You do not need to meet with an advisor. You don't need to meet with anybody in your program, because we do everything ahead of time to help you know what to enroll in. And that's exactly what you see on your slide right now on the screen. You're going to see an individual webinar that is done for your degree program, where your program director and program support person will go over exactly what are the best courses for you to take as an incoming student. They'll talk about the degree plan itself. They will talk about, okay, these are the core classes, the classes that you must take and must get an overall GPA of a 3.0 or higher in order to complete the degree. Now, remember, I'm going to emphasize this again. Corina did talk about this. But when you get ready to graduate, you must have a core GPA, which is a handful of classes related to your degree with a GPA of a 3.0 or higher. And you must have an overall GPA for all of your classes over a 3.0. So those webinars, which you'll get that information to attend one of those, they'll go over specifically what you need to take. And the courses that you should be looking at. And it's important to listen to them, because some of those core classes are often prerequisites for higher level courses that you want to take. So generally speaking, you want to try and take your core classes early in your program and not late in your program. We do have some degree programs where there aren't prerequisites associated, but you still don't want to be left to the end with very difficult core classes to take at the end of your program, putting your core GPA in jeopardy. So mark those. You're going to get an email that tells you about these, but these are going to be important opportunities for you to really hear from the experts about what you should enroll in this fall. So Norma, you want to go to the next, there you go. So if you have questions, you can always email JSOM Advising, and they can absolutely answer questions about the registration and enrollment process. If you have other general questions about the school or the degree program, you can always participate in live chat through the question desk. But I would encourage every single one of you to use this great opportunity to engage with your degree program. Those are the individuals that you're going to get to know, that are going to get to know you from day one until the day you're long past graduation. They are the individuals that can answer questions about this course versus that course, this elective option versus that elective option, this a concentration or track versus that concentration or track, what degree, what concentrations lead to what kinds of jobs when you graduate. They are really the consummate experts. So you should really reach out to your degree program director or your program's general email box. They are going to be able to give you the best and most robust answers to your questions around what to enroll in. So I would encourage all of you to do that. Now, I have no doubt that there are a ton of questions that are coming in to the question and answer section of Teams Live. So Norma, I bet you've rounded up a bunch of them and you are ready to pitch those to Corina and I.
Yes, we have lots of questions. The first one is, how do I figure out what my enrollment appointment date is?
Corina, you want to take that?
Sure. So on that tile that we were looking at, it was manage my classes tile. Norma, if you have the slide available, you can put it back up, but it was one of those options. Right in the middle of it, there's a lot of bullet points on there, but in the middle, you will see something that says view enrollment appointment. You click there and it'll give you the information. So it's pretty easy. It is the manage my classes tile.
And that is the date and time in which you can go in and register yourself. You will not be able to do it before that available date and time.
And like you mentioned, that's not a place where they have to go to see somebody.
Nope.
That's just the date and time they can go online to register. Is that right?
It's kind of funny that the university calls it an enrollment appointment. It really isn't an appointment with a person. It's just an appointment point where you can go in and register yourself.
Our next question was asked by a few people. It's talking about the official transcripts. They're asking if they can submit their official transcripts in person once they arrive to UT Dallas. And if they wait until they arrive, will that prevent them from registering?
It will not prevent you from registering, but it is a little bit risky in the sense that, you know, if something happens, if you lose them on the way to Dallas, if there's a delay in you requesting them from your home university, it is always to your advantage to try and send those documents before you even get here. You've got several months to do that, so I would encourage you to do that. Now, it won't prohibit your enrollment for fall of 2023, but it will prohibit your enrollment for spring of 2024. So you absolutely want to get those documents here. And we do have some students that hand deliver them to the documents area in admissions after they arrive. But if you can have them sent sooner, I would absolutely check that off your list so you don't have to ever worry about it again.
Our next question is about the core courses that you were kind of talking about earlier. And they're asking, is it necessary to complete all the core courses in the first year? And then somebody also asked, do we have to complete the professional development in the first semester?
Oh, two great questions and questions that I love. So the professional development class is required in the first 12 hours at UT Dallas. So yes, you must enroll in professional development in your first semester, and you want to, because in that course, we get your resume ready so that you can start applying for internships by the time you're at the end of your first semester. You have to wait a little while until you're eligible to do an internship, but you have to start applying early. So we get your resumes ready, we get your interview skills sharpened up, we teach you how to network in the United States, we teach you how to connect with our alumni. We go through a lot of really critical things that will help you in terms of launching your internship and your career search. So yes, you must enroll in professional development in your first semester. Now, let me tackle the question about core. It depends upon your degree program. In some degree programs, take ITM, Corina, correct me if I'm wrong, but in ITM, you can generally wait to take your core later. I do not encourage any student to do that. I would get your core over with, maybe not all in your first semester, but I would definitely get all of your core over in your first 2 semesters. Core classes are considered base knowledge, where the other classes build on that base knowledge. So sometimes you have a better understanding of an elective class when you have the core. And in some degree programs, especially in the areas of like finance and business analytics and healthcare leadership, there are a lot of those core classes that are literally prerequisites to other elective classes. So you want to pay very close attention when you go to that degree program webinar, the ones that you see up on your screen right now. You will want to hear from that program director about what is a prerequisite for something else, what order you should take the classes in, and you should absolutely do that. Now, occasionally, we have a few students who, and I mean literally a few handful of students, who decide that some core classes in some degree programs are really hard, and they put them off. And that is not a good idea, because if you have a difficulty in a core class and you need to, for some reason, retake it, you don't want to wait to the end of your degree program to do that, because that creates additional stress and complications. So I would get all of your core over with in the first 2 semesters where possible. I would pay close attention to those degree plans that the program directors will go over in the sessions that you see on the screen. And I would be really smart. And if you don't enroll in MAS 6102 professional development, we're going to know, and we're going to come after you and tell you to enroll, because it is required by the course catalog that you do that in your first 12 hours.
We had a couple students who asked if they can register for classes before they get their I-20.
Yeah. You can register. An I-20 is not a requirement. An I-20 is a requirement for you in order to go to your visa appointment, but it is not a requirement in the sense of you have to have it in order to register for classes. So go ahead, get registered. And also take care of getting your I-20 as well. Go ahead and go through that pretty simple process of applying through iComment to get the I-20.
This question is for Corina, so I'm going to go ahead and bring her on screen. Corina, you mentioned that holds are lifted temporarily in order for students to register for classes. This particular student says that they still see holds on their account. And so they're wondering that even though they see them in their account, if that's going to prevent them from registering.
Sure. If you're welcome to send us an email if you still see a hold on your account. It was JSOM Advising at utdallas.edu. It is a process where we do have to go in and check almost on a daily basis the status of student holds. We are actively going in there to release them. A good number of them have already been released. If you are a student who just recently accepted your admission, that may be a reason that you still have a hold on there, because we haven't gotten to you yet to release it. But our goal is to make sure that before your enrollment date, you do not have that hold on your account, that it has been pushed out so that you can actually register. So if you still see it, feel free to send us an email. We can take a look at it and make sure that it's not there before your registration.
Perfect, thank you. I'm going to bring Dr. Powell back. The next question has to do with the maximum number of credits that somebody can take in one semester. So I was hoping you can talk about the maximum, but also just talk about what our average student usually takes in their first semester as an international student.
So the question that this particular incoming student is asked is a little bit complicated, and it is a really, really important question. So thank you for asking this question. So you'll be allowed to enroll in up to 13 credit hours when you enroll. You will not be allowed to enroll in more than that. Now, at a certain point after you arrive, that will be lifted and you'll be allowed to enroll in more classes than 13, up to 18 that is allowed by the catalog, by the graduate catalog. But having said that, you really don't want to do that. The average number of credit hours that an international student is enrolled in is 10 credit hours in their first semester. That's 3 courses, 3 credit hours each, and 1 credit hour of professional development. Now, a lot of students will say, wow, the overall program is going to cost less if I move through the program quicker and take more classes. That's true. The more credit hours you take, the less cost per credit hour. But there are a lot of disadvantages in doing that. Number one, the bulk, and I mean 95% or greater of our international students are here for a full 21 months. And the reason that they're here for a full 21 months and taking 10 credit hours the first semester, 9 credit hours in the second semester, they might take 1 credit hour of internship in the summer, then they'll take another credit hour and maybe 9 credits in the fall, and then finish out in the following spring. Our students want the ability to take at least 3 consecutive internships, so they have the greatest opportunity to get OPT when they graduate, and hopefully potentially an H-1B offer at the end of OPT. And if you go through the program too quickly, you don't have as many opportunities to do those internships. So while you might save money on the front end, you'll lose opportunity on the back end. Now, there is another webinar that a colleague of mine and I did back in February. It's called Funding Your Degree, and Norma is going to put that in the chat. So oftentimes our international students are really concerned, and rightfully so, about how am I going to pay for this? This is really expensive. But there are a lot of ways to fund your degree. You know, you might get a scholarship, which gives you in-state tuition for your first 2 long semesters. You might not get a scholarship your first year, but you get a scholarship your second year, and that gets you in-state tuition. If you get a TA ship after you've been here, that will convert you to in-state tuition. You might get a student worker job, a campus job that's going to fund part of your living expenses. And our internships pay really lucratively. So we have students that are making, you know, on the low side, $18 an hour. We had some students this semester, they were making $45 an hour in some of our technical areas. So that is a huge amount of money that helps pay for it. And then we have a number of students who take out vendor loans with some of the big vendor companies like Prodigy Bank, or trying to think of the other one that escapes my mind at this moment. But, you know, those students are so remarkable that when they graduate, they pay off those low interest loans in about a year, year and a half. So there's a lot of ways to fund the degree without taking too many courses in a semester to try and economize and optimize on the tuition, because you will miss out on participating in student organizations. Those have lots of competitions that engage employers, so you have a chance to meet employers and alumni. You miss out on participating in many of the other co-curricular activities like Toastmasters and the 75 plus student organizations we have here in the Jindal School, plus the 400 that exist campus-wide. All of those are critically important in helping you connect with alumni, build a strong and powerful network, and that's part of what helps you get a job here. And by the way, we teach all of that in professional development the first semester, which you are required to take in the first semester of your degree program.
This next person was looking at their enrollment appointment, and they said that there's 2 sessions, the first 8 week and the second 8 week, and they were a little confused by that. So I was hoping you could clarify, you know, the regular term versus these shorter 8 week sessions.
So Corina, you want to explain that?
Sure. So the semester itself does have what's called a full term that takes place the entire semester, and then it has a first half, which for summer is first 5 weeks, second 5 weeks. And then in the fall and the spring, it's a first 8 weeks and second 8 weeks. Most of our classes, I would say the majority of our classes are offered in the full term. When you're looking at that chart for your enrollment date, you will see those separated out enrollment dates. But if you look above it, there should be a different date that shows you what it is for your full term. I will next time get a little screenshot for you so that you can see it, but don't look at those specific ones, just kind of look above it and there should be another date listed on there. If you're still kind of confused about it, just send us an email. We'll double check for you and confirm your enrollment date.
And while I have you on the screen, Dr. Powell earlier mentioned that 18 credit hours was the limit for a semester. This person's wondering if the professional development course would count towards that 18 credit hour limit.
Yes, it does. It is an additional credit hour and it does count towards a limit, but just a quick reminder, you are limited to 13 credit hours first in order to get registered. Only closer to the semester will that be lifted. If you want to and decide that you do want to add more classes, then only at that time would you be able to then add the additional coursework.
And I'm going to jump in to Corina's comment and say it is incredibly risky. I have been in graduate management education over 35 years. Will be here 17 years at UT Dallas shortly. And I think that I have seen 2 students successfully attempt credit hours of 18 in a semester. Both of those happen to have been medical doctors. That is a huge risk to take on, and one that you ought to be very thoughtful about before you actually do it. Because the last thing you want to do is to sign up for all those courses, then decide you can't handle it, and then go about dropping some of them and not be refunded, because you're not refunded your absolute total tuition. You're given prorated portions of your tuition depending upon when you drop it. So you want to just be really careful because that can be a costly mistake with regard to your GPA, and also a costly mistake with regard to the financial side as well.
This next question is interesting. So if they register for classes, do they have to pay any kind of deposit to secure their registration, or when would they have to pay?
So tuition would not be due until the tuition schedule that is on the back of the second page of the academic calendar that you can't see yet. But no, you do not have to pay any kind of a deposit. That is one thing that is really unique about the Jendal School, where a lot of other universities require seat fees, and we do not require all that. We do not want to burden our students with that. We want to make it easy for you to enroll in classes and to know that those classes are secure.
The majority of our students attending today are admitted for fall 2023, but we do have a small group that is joining us today that was admitted in the summer. And so this person is a summer admit, and they're asking, do they have to register for both summer and fall right now, or how does that kind of work?
So I can jump in on this one. You don't have to register in both at the same time. I will say that if you're thinking about enrolling in the fall as well, you do have to register in summer first. So your fall semester is not going to be active until you are registered in summer, and we can see that you're actually attending in the summer semester. Then it's going to take about a day or two for you to then become active for the fall semester. So that is true. You have to start with summer first, and then you can enroll in fall, but it's not mandatory for you to enroll in both semesters. You can register in summer, and if you're still sort of exploring, trying to research what classes you would then add for the fall, that is fine. You can take a little bit more time to look at the fall semester.
I'm going to go ahead and bring Dr. Powell back. We have a few people who are asking if it was too late to apply for scholarship for fall 2023.
No, it is not too late. You have until May 1 to apply for a scholarship for fall. Please keep in mind that one of the requirements of a scholarship is that you must submit an official GMAT or GRE score. So if you were admitted with a GMAT or GRE waiver, we don't waive that at the scholarship level. You will need to submit an official score from either GMAC or ETS to be considered if you have applied. So there's several conditions that the scholarship committee looks at. One, you have to be admitted for fall 2023. Number two, you have to have submitted all the materials in the admissions process. And three, you must submit an official GMAT or GRE score for the committee to consider them. But the application deadline is May 1.
We have a student here who is admitted for summer, but they're not seeing professional development available in the summer. So they wanted to kind of know what to do in that case.
I don't have the schedule right here handy in front of me, but Corina, can you look that up? I'm sure there is a session for professional development for summer, but I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay, we'll revisit that one, and
Yes.
I'll ask you a different question in the meantime. Is there a deadline for submitting the official transcripts to the university?
Yeah, I mean, so Corina, you want to address that as well? You want those submitted before class date for sure.
Right. The deadline for submitting official transcripts, it's going to be at the beginning of your first semester. So, I mean, I will go back to what Dr. Powell recommended is if you can do it now, go ahead and submit it now. It takes something off your to-do list that you don't have to worry about anymore. But if you do happen to wait until the beginning, once you start your first semester, you will have to submit your official transcripts at that time. And I am at the same time quickly searching for MAS 6102, which should be available in the summer as well. But let me just, almost there, Norma. Yes, okay, it is. There's a section available. It is section 051. When you're searching for it, make sure that you are searching all, not a particular time in the semester or limiting it for full term only or anything like that. But you should be able to find MAS 6102 section 051 for the summer 23.
So I'm going to go ahead and bring, thank you, Corina. I'm going to go ahead and bring Dr. Powell back because we have a student who, is looking at classes, but they want to know where can they find information about the professor or their strength or their ratings, things like that.
So that's a really good question. There are a number of resources in Coursebook where you can go and you can look up a past semester and you can look up the same courses. Search by faculty member. You'll see faculty names on the course schedule, and then you can see their course evaluations. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it, which I'm not a huge fan of, is something called Rate My Professor, which is a website here in the US where college and university students rate professors at all different kinds of schools. It doesn't tend to be very reliable because there's no control over it. So I wouldn't really depend upon that as a place to go, although some students do go there. Really, the best place to go is to talk to your program director. They will engage you with program ambassadors, and those are seniors ahead of you who have taken all of the different professors and can share with you the professors and the nuances about those professors. Now, I caution students because I think that oftentimes a student says, I want to take the easiest professor. Don't do that. You want to take the most challenging professor because you want to get the skill set that makes you the most competitive for the job. So don't go looking for feedback about the easy A professor. Look for the feedback about the professor that challenged his students or her students. Look for the professor that gave really great group projects. Look for the professor who may have brought in corporate speakers into the classroom to enhance the course content. Look for the professors that challenge the students. And the best way to do that is with your seniors. Those folks are easy to find through the degree program. And when you attend any of these webinars that you see on the screen right now, the program director will be able to introduce you to students that can give you advice about the different courses and the different professors. But I will tell you that when our exit survey is conducted every semester for our graduating students, and by the way, all students complete those evaluations, the number one thing that our students rave about is the faculty experience. So if you have as many students as we have, that indicates that we have a lot of really terrific faculty. So you cannot go wrong depending upon the faculty member that you get. And please don't get your heart set on faculty member X. And then you find that faculty member X's class is full because the other professors that teach that class are just as good as faculty member X. So you want to have some flexibility in how you look at and build your course schedule.
So we talked about the maximum number of credits they can take in a semester, but as an F-1 international student, can you talk about the minimum number of credit hours they need to take in a semester? And also, a couple people have asked if they can take online classes.
So those are two great questions. The minimum number of questions that an F1 courses that an F1 student can take is 9 credit hours. But in your first semester as a new F1 student coming into a master's program, you'll be taking 10 because of the professional development 1 credit hour course on top of the three credit hour classes. You can take 1 online class, and only 1 online class as an incoming student. Now, if you are a student who is international, who never plans to come to the United States, then you can take as many onlines as you want. But if you are coming to the United States, the minimum number of classes you're required to take is 9 credit hours. First semester is 10 because of professional development, and you can only take 1 online class.
So we have a few attendees who are still deciding on their destination for their graduate school education. And so they're wondering kind of what the advantages of registering early, and if they say wait, will they be at a disadvantage? Also, if they register now, can they drop those classes later on?
So yes, if you enroll, you can drop the classes. There's nothing to stop you from doing that. But if you're still in a position of deciding what is your graduate school destination, then I want you to really spend some thoughtful time with your degree program director and with other international students. And your program director can help connect you to those students. You know, the Jindal School is an incredibly unique graduate school in the United States. Number one, it's big. Number two, it has a lot of different degree programs, so it offers a multitude of electives. You are not going to find another graduate program in the United States that has as many concentrations within each degree program and as many elective offerings as we have here. That is a huge advantage when you're competing in the marketplace for internships and positions. And we have a great track record with regard to the number of students that are in internships every single semester. It's in the, it's above 1,000. So it's a huge number of students that are being able to take advantage of the central location of Dallas-Fort Worth and the fact that we have a lot of STEM-based organizations here in DFW. And not only that, we have a lot of STEM-based programs that give you the opportunity for that extended OPT. So if you are on the fence about which school you want to go to, then you need to remember a couple of things. When you go to a big school, we get all of the employers. An employer comes to us and wants to hire 30 students, or they want to come to us and hire all of their students, as opposed to going to a bunch of little schools and picking up 1 or 2 or 3. So there are a lot of advantages to going to a school like ours. The co-curricular engagement, the student organizations, the culture being so international and so diverse oriented and so welcoming, vast number of courses that you can take and how you can specialize your degree in concentrations and tracks. The fact that we are centrally located in the United States, which means you can go to either coast for internship opportunities, as well as here in Dallas-Fort Worth. So yes, you can drop those classes. Yes, you do want to get enrolled so that you can get the classes that you want, and you should go ahead and do that early. And I can't implore upon you to really talk to the degree program directors and have them connect you with students that are where you are from, and let those students chat with you about the advantages of coming to the Jendal School. I think you will be incredibly surprised if you hadn't had that conversation already.
We have a few students who have asked when will scholarship decisions be made, or what the process is for scholarship decision notifications.
So the scholarship committee is making periodic award decisions, choosing the best and most competitive candidates in that particular cycle. So if you applied months and months ago and you haven't been awarded, it is likely that you aren't as competitive as the pool is. But we will continue to make fall enrollment scholarship decisions right up until shortly after the deadline of May the 1st. And we'll probably make our next round of decisions in probably April 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, somewhere in that date range. And then we'll make several others before the May 1 deadline.
So we have somebody else who asked if they can do more than one internship in a semester. And so I was hoping you could kind of talk about when our international students typically will do their internship if, say, they join in the fall.
So let me answer the first question. You cannot do 2 internships in a semester. You can only do 1. And you can't do an internship until you have completed 2 long semesters. We want our students to have lots of great elective courses and core courses under their belt so that they can really deliver on these high-tooled internships that the employers come to us to try and fill with our students. So if you enroll this fall, you will be eligible for internship next summer of 2024. So you'll complete the fall, you'll take the professional development class, you'll start applying and connecting with employers in late fall. Often they will start to make offers at the end of fall, beginning of spring. You'll be ready to go when summer rolls around.
The next question has to do with the student health, the TB hold. A few of our students are still seeing it, and so they're just wondering if that will prevent them from registering.
Yes, that will prevent them from registering. You want to send an email to jendal@utdallas.edu and let me know that you still have a TB hold so that I can get those TB holds off. If you are a student that happened to defer your enrollment, you might have a TB hold. We've worked hard to try and remove as many of those as we possibly can. But if you still have that hold, as opposed to sending it to JSOM Advising or the question desk, send it to jendal@utdallas.edu and we'll get that hold removed.
We have a few attendees who have to take OPRE 6303, the prerequisite Quantitative Foundations of Business course, and they're wondering if they can complete it prior to fall, their first semester, or when they take that class.
So Corina, you want to take a stab at that question?
Sure. Yeah, you cannot complete it prior to the fall. It is going to be one of the classes that you take within your first semester. So just take that into account when you're looking at your first semester coursework. You will have to add OPRE 6303 as part of that coursework. So it's not before, it's just part of your first semester.
And it would be, I don't believe that this course is offered online in the summer. So, and a student is approved to enroll in a semester of entry, which would be fall. It's not the kind of course that you can transfer in, correct, Corina?
Correct. You cannot transfer it in. It is something that you take at UTD. And if you're admitted for the fall, you are not able to register in the summer semester. The first semester you can register in this fall. So it becomes a fall course. Norma, I think you're on mute.
Thank you, Corina. Sorry about that. The next question, Dr. Powell, is about the professional development course. And this person is asking, what happens if we don't take the professional development course in our first semester?
Well, number one, we're going to find out because we'll be running reports early in the semester to enroll you. I can't imagine why a student would not want to take that class their first semester. Because it gives you all of the advantages of getting ready for an internship. But we will run a report right around Census Day. And if you're not enrolled, we will make sure that you get enrolled in the second 8 weeks of your first semester. So you need to do that. I would love to hear from whomever you are. If you want to send an email to jendal@utdallas.edu, I'd love to hear why you don't want to take that class in your first semester. Because students, I mean, it's the special sauce. It's what helps you land those great internships early and helps you get competitive.
So that leads me into, I think we have time for one more question before closing remarks. But this person was asking about, are we going to get help finding internships and what type of help we get, which leads into the benefits of that professional development class.
So yes, we teach students how to seek out those internships, how to apply for them on our platform. We have a platform called Handshake where all employers post available internships, but we also have students that gather internships outside of our platform. We have career fairs, we have industry employer forums, we have competitions. There are endless numbers of ways to engage with employers and alumni here at the Jendal School. Again, that kind of speaks to the special sauce of the Jendal School. And that's a great question to ask that degree program director and those seniors that are ahead of you, because you will, if you interviewed 10 different students that are ahead of you and ask them how they all got their internships, 3 of them would tell you they got them on Handshake. 1 or 2 of them would tell you that they went to a career expo or a career fair type of environment. 5 of them would tell you that they did it through either a student organization or connecting with an employer. So there are oodles of ways to get internships here, and we teach you how to do that, and we help students to do that. And your degree programs engage employers both in the student organizations and within the degree program events that they have to help students connect with employers. You really should go and look at a website that we have, and I'll see if Norma can put it into the chat. It's called Internship Stories. It's where all of our internship students post their internship employer and their experience. And when you scroll through those literally thousands of entries that are there, you will be amazed at all of the different big name global employers that our students are interning with, as well as startups and mid-sized organizations. So go out there and look at that, and then please connect with those degree program directors. Ask those seniors for their advice on courses. Ask those seniors for advice on how they landed internships. Ask those seniors what the culture is like here in the Jendal School in terms of student engagement. What does it feel like? You know, our students tell us all the time that when you go to the Jendal School, even if you're from you know, New Delhi, or you're from Bangalore, or you're from Singapore, or you're from Tokyo, or you're from Seoul, it doesn't matter, you know, where you might be from. our international students describe the experience here in the Jindal School as being home, that they just feel so connected here, not only in making global friends, having a global faculty, but just having an enriching experience where they're dealing with people that are really committed to their individual success. So I hope that if you're out there on the fence, you'll reach out to us and let us help you make those final decisions. We hope that you will enroll quickly. If you have any issues around enrollment or registration, send an email to the email you see on the screen, JSOM Advising at utdallas.edu. If you have a TB hold, I want you to send that to Jindal at utdallas.edu. We'll make sure to work on those. You have questions about what you should enroll in, or faculty or courses or concentrations or tracks, you need to go to that webinar session. Norma's put it up on the screen. Meet the program director, meet seniors, learn about the courses that you need to enroll in for fall. You'll notice that all of the sessions on the screen are going to happen before your appointment date. So you'll be able to have all of the materials. You'll have this webinar, you'll have a recording of it, you'll have the deck, you will have attended this webinar and probably have the recording and the deck. You will literally have everything at your fingertips in order to enroll when your appointment opens up. Again, if you have any kind of hold, you need to let us know so that we can take care of those and make sure that those holds get removed. So we hope you'll be in touch with us. We thank you for taking time to come and be with us today. We hope we've answered all of your questions, but be not dismayed if we haven't. We are here to help you. I want to thank Corina for being here today, for helping to answer really critical questions, go over the process for how you enroll through our Galaxy system. I want to thank Angela, who I know is in the background answering a lot of the chat questions. Thank you for doing that, Angela. And to Norma, who makes everything happen in our live Teams webinars. Thank you for choosing the Jindal School. We cannot wait to meet you, and we hope that you will be in touch with us very soon.